undoubtedly you get to a point where the Image comics come out and the death of Superman and the bubble bursts. What was the effect it had on you during this whole kind of?
It was very interesting. So at that point, Valiant ended up being sold to Acclaim.
Mm-hmm.
Acclaim at the time was
There was
very
a bankruptcy
popular. Well, this was pre-bankruptcy. Acclaim at the time was at its height with Mortal Kombat and NBA Jam.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love those games.
I remember going into a meeting with the president, and he was talking about how they want Acclaim to be like Disney, and how they wanted to, capture synergy and be able to have, these comic book characters expand into video games and other things. And back then too, like there weren't a lot of comic book movies. I think Blade had come out. Right,
yeah.
That was probably the best one. Mortal Kombat movie had come out, and that was kind of cool.
Yeah, but that didn't. I mean, it was good. It got a sequel, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't
nothing
like
highbrow,
right?
Nothing.
Iron Man or
yeah,
like
it was just like, oh, that's cool that you saw, these characters that you'd read on the big screen.
Yep.
So Acclaim bought Valiant, and then Bob left. So I had been Bob's, he was like a second father to me.
Yeah.
And so I kind of saw the writing on the wall at that point. And Fabian Nicieza came in and was the editor-in-chief. And then this was supposed to be the year that I was going to like go full throttle, because this was the fourth year of my contract, and this year I didn't have any more school.
Yeah.
So I had graduated, and I was like, all right, I'm going to have all this free time. I'm going to draw like 2 books a month.
Wow.
Or, because back then I was drawing 1 book a month.
Yeah. And you're still doing school and
and basketball, because we had practice 3 hours a night, every night. If it wasn't a practice, it was a game. So I was like, man, I have all this time. I'm going to draw 2 books, right? I was going to draw Barbie and one other superhero book.
Wow.
Because I thought Barbie was like really easy.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. It didn't work out. And the contract ended. And they weren't going to renew it. They weren't going to... I'm trying to remember a while ago. So John Paul said he was doing stuff for the X office at Marvel. It's like, hey, maybe they bring you in or just tag along with me.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, too, it was very casual, right? You tag along with another guy to go into the office. You meet the editor.
And they offer you some work.
And hey, yeah, I mean, by then, if you're working professional, that I have this book coming, because they all have this huge pipeline. There also used to be like guys that would hang out in the bullpen, which I didn't really like, but it was, and I never really, I don't think I ever did that. But there were guys that would hang out in the bullpen, and editors would come by like, oh, I need, some guy dropped out. I need this guy. Can you draw a book for me? All right. But I went into the X office, and Mark Powers was there with Bob Harris, and John had told Mark earlier that I was gonna come in with him, and we sat down and talked a little bit. I was like, yeah, we probably got something. Let's do like a fill-in issue here or there, and what did I want to do? And I was just wanting to explore, so I'll do like an issue here or there and see how that works. Ended up doing like a Superman book too for DC.
Oh, wow.
And like some pinups for Image. So I was just kind of like testing the waters.
You were literally playing here, playing there, seeing what work they had here, and kind of jumping around a little bit.
Yeah. And at the same time too, a friend that was still going to Pratt said, hey, this guy from Disney came by, and they're looking for a comic book artist to go work at Disney. And I thought, I don't really want to work at Disney, but maybe if I can submit my resume, see if they'll hire me. I just wanted to see if I was like Disney quality artist, right? It's more of like an ego thing.
Yeah.
And so I sent in my resume. Then they asked me then I mailed in a portfolio. The portfolio was like half comic book work, half architecture work. And then they said, we're going to fly you out for an interview. I was in New York. They would fly me out to Burbank.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, this is getting pretty serious.
Yeah.
I actually have to meet somebody in person. I was just hoping they would like tell me, over the phone, yes or no. And then I could turn them down. But then a friend of mine from college was living in San Diego. He was getting married. So right around the same time. So I said, look, can you schedule the interview for this Thursday, Friday, like right before the wedding? And I didn't tell him about the wedding, but so it was essentially trying to get a free airplane ticket to go out to San Diego. And they're like, yeah, sure. So I interviewed there, and on the plane ride there, I was thinking to myself, well, I should take it a little bit seriously since I'm already flying out. I'm going to meet with these people. It's like you interview for a whole day at Disney with like 6 or 7 different people.
Wow.
From people that are going to be above you, at the same level, and also below. And then each one writes their own report, submits it back to the VP and HR. And then at the end of the day, the last meeting was with the HR person. And the HR person, of course, asks you, what did you want to make? Or what is your, what kind of income? Or what's your salary? So I gave them a number. I thought this would be a number that if they came close to this, I could move out to California and give it a shot. I've been drawing comics for 4.5 years in New York. I didn't have, at the time I just broke up with my girlfriend, I didn't have anything keeping me there. Although I was just promoted to be the head coach at Pratt.
Oh, wow.
So I was going to be a college basketball head coach. Well, I was a college basketball head coach for like a summer.
Oh, that's cool.
And so that was the only thing that would keep me in New York. And, but if they made this offer, I should seriously consider it because I was 23, 24 at the time, maybe 24, 25. And I thought if I wanted to make a move, this would be the right time. Because if I waited another 4 or 5 more years...
You would do it. You'd never do it.
Yeah, because then I'd probably be married with a kid and have a family, and that would be a completely different kind of things in play.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to make a move cross-country to a completely new environment, try something completely different, this would be the time to do it. And at first they said, we can't, that's too much, the offer, the salary I asked for, because that's more than the art director that I'm paying. And I thought, well, what's the offer then? Like, where are you guys at? There was like a difference of, I think like 20-something thousand a year. So my strategy was like, well, what if you gave me the lower salary that's on the books, but then you gave me a signing bonus? So then, because you're concerned if other people saw my paycheck.
Yeah, there you go.
That it would be too high. But they're not going to see the paycheck for the bonus.
Yeah.
But I would still be making
the same amount of money.
The same amount that I know.
Yeah.
Right? And so they came back and they're like, okay, yeah. It wasn't like exactly 20, but it was close.
Yeah.
So, and then a 3-year contract. Make sure that it was 3 years. So I'm moving out. They paid for everything. Because I didn't want to go out without a contract.
Yeah.
And then I figured, 3 years, if I liked it, didn't like it, then I'd move back to New York and draw comics again. 8 months moving out, they laid me off.
No way.
It was a huge layoff. They laid off like 200 people in one day.
Wow.
And it was at Disney Interactive at the time. So we were designing video games.
Oh, wow.
So it was a little bit of a shock, but
absolutely,
it wasn't as big of a shock because we had a similar thing back at Valiant when Acclaim took over. There's this corporate stuff that kind of happens. So the very next day, I interviewed at Imagineering, which is across the street. I couldn't do that before. They actually, the VP that hired and brought me in like a couple weeks before all the shit was gonna happen. He said, "Look, there's gonna be some shit. We're gonna have to let you go. I trust you. I know that you're not gonna like steal shit from us. I trust you, but you should start preparing. Get your resume in order, and because like for my salary, they could keep 2 guys on.
Yeah.
So, and they're downsizing. So I said, that's great. The day that the whole layoff came, it was an interesting experience.
I bet.
Right?
I mean,
if anybody's been part of a corporate layoff, it's not a great day.
No, absolutely not.
And but it's an experience. You go through it, and you come out of it. But I already knew. I was prepared. And I left all the office supplies. I didn't take anything with me. You know, they call you into HR office. I mean, they call you in the office with the HR, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, we're going to offer you a 2 weeks severance package." And I was like, "Oh, I'm really grateful for that, but we have a signed contract, and so if I accept this, that means I'm breaking the contract, and I don't feel comfortable with that. So I'd prefer if you contacted my attorney, and we could and you guys could settle it out. If it was just me, I'd leave right now, but I'd take it, but I can't. So you guys have to discuss that with my attorney, but I'll leave." So I took all my stuff and left. And they negotiated like the end of the first year. So I got paid for like 4 months without
having to actually work.
Yeah.